part of the Marma J Research DAO, I suppose, I am contributing to Uncloak as much as I possibly can. A lot's been going on over the past couple of weeks, and so my contributions may not be as weighty as I would want them to be. But still, I think that the whole idea of a site like Uncloak is that every contribution is meaningful in some way, and hopefully with like the knowledge graph that's coming together, you know, all contributions can also kind of connect together as well in some kind of meaningful way. This is a community-maintained knowledge wiki experiment. That's a pretty good way of putting it. The best way I try and explain it is like wiki, hopefully eventually mixed with like Reddit type of commenting and like community collaboration on like knowledge sharing. So it's aiming to increase the accessibility of cryptography for developers, researchers, and everyone else. So for now, we are focusing on cryptography. That's why there is only one topic here. But in my opinion, it's pretty realistic to kind of start visualizing how other topics might start also being relevant here. So I'm logged into my GitHub profile right here, signed in as Doulos819. My little tagline is spread the love, and I can kind of sign out. And so if you've never even heard of GitHub before, this is probably what you'll see. And so generally you can kind of sign up. It'll go through, you know, okay, this is a bit much, honestly, but it'll ask you for your email and it'll go through a bunch of stuff. I mean, you can go, it's really straightforward, honestly. Setting up on GitHub for the first time. If you already have an account, you just sign in with that email and your password. You hit sign in, and then boom, you are signed in. This is like my homepage I land on when I'm on GitHub. You can see like all these random repositories that I've like just forked or created for, you know, various reasons. Usually just to play around with things. But one of them that I've kind of, you know, have here that I've starred and forked away as well under like Chloe C. I have my own little repo for it that I try and kind of have fun on from time to time and learn things and play around with things. I don't break them on the main repo, but I can do my own things on my own repo. So if you have no clue what a repo is, it's a repository where you put a bunch of files, and this is the Uncloak repository that kind of holds all the information for the Uncloak site. So in this course, right? So let's go maybe to the syllabus so we can explain a little bit about the course. And this graph is quite a bit larger. So I think it's pretty cool already, again, being able to see, again, you can't like, so again, making this more efficient, maybe we'd be able to kind of drag the study group syllabus kind of out here, and then being able to kind of see how it connects to the README and being able to drag things out. But it's not that easy to do. Either way, you can kind of see how, oh, there's, you know, so how there's already kind of empty pages for session 9, session 10, session 12, notes that are available. There's solutions for some of them. So if you kind of highlight homework 1 solutions, it connects to session 2 notes and session 1 notes. If you connect to, you know, session 1 notes, you can kind of see again how that connects. If you go to then, you know, session 2 notes, oops, it's a bit hard to see, but now you can see how session 2 notes connects to session 3 notes, okay, and the date and everything as well. And then, okay, if you went to session 3 notes, it is not yet connected to session 4 because we're not there yet. So currently everything is only connected to the syllabus because it hasn't been actually written in yet. But you could actually see how already there is pages created for all of this, but they're not linked yet because they're not actually done. Journal is a 4-month, open to the public Rust cryptography engineering weekly study group covering topics in cryptography engineering, design principles, and practical application, which is a textbook, came out in 2010, and it goes over a lot of like the high-level overview of like how to use different cryptography tools like block ciphers and hash functions and use them together in practical applications. So the study group runs over 16 weeks. There's various exercises in the textbook and extra readings that are added to that as well that make up the study group. Some extra resources here, which, people that want to partake in the study group can read through. The number 3 article is wonderful. I have not completed it yet. I mean, I don't even know if you can actually say you could ever complete it, but I haven't read through it completely once yet. I'm still kind of working through that. And Practical Cryptography for Developers is a great resource as well. So again, it's very similar to the textbook, but again, focusing on, the actual code that you could run through, which is pretty cool as well. So, I mean, there's so many resources to go through, and, talking about why this study group is happening. Also, again, contribution doesn't have to be necessarily through GitHub. People can contribute simply by joining the Discord channel, partaking in the study group, learning cryptography engineering for themselves, or trying to get more proficient in applied cryptography engineering. And of course, then, finding ways to contribute to the website and make their contributions lasting, in my opinion, is an efficient way to try and contribute. What it looks like to contribute, even if the contribution is tiny. Here you go. Here is my typo. I feel terrible for it because I wrote the latex wrong out of the textbook, and then I was actually reading through this attack a few times, and I kept being so confused. I was like, okay, so suppose you, as an attacker, observe the following 32-byte ciphertext C in hex. So the attacker sees this encrypted message, this ciphertext. And then you see the following 32-byte ciphertext C prime, also in hex. Okay, so you're seeing 2 different encrypted messages. You can see they're different because this is like 51 and this is 46 at the beginning. So they're different encrypted messages. And so suppose these ciphertexts were generated using CTR mode, so I guess counter mode, with the same nonce. So instead of using a different nonce and starting with a different number, which would encrypt these things differently, the same nonce was used, which is insecure, from a very high level, I guess. The nonce is implicit, so it is not, so it tells you right here what that means. So it is not included in the ciphertext. So generally, if the nonce wasn't implicit and it had to be included, the first, few bytes maybe, or whatever amount of storage, would be this nonce, this number to signify, what number you're using. But they're saying that actually it's implicit, so you don't have to actually worry about that. It's something that's known by the protocol, but it's not included, or maybe known by either of the parties, but not included in the actual ciphertext. My repo is probably not synced. So there you go. I'm 5 commits behind Thor main. So because my repository is not in sync with the main website right now, the last thing that I have here is like 5 days ago. I'm actually going to sync my fork first and just make it so that, whatever I was doing, usually, okay, I'm not sure if this is even the correct thing to do, so don't even listen to me, but usually, sometimes I'll just use my fork as a way to just completely experiment, and a lot of times, I'll just delete all my changes by syncing to the main fork, because if I do a good change that I actually think is useful, it'll get merged to the main branch anyways. And so my random experimentation usually isn't really, in my opinion, I don't need to save it. I just kind of wipe away those changes and wipe away those branches. But anyways, I'm going to update the branch so it's like fetching and merging, and there you go. Now we're up to date. I should be able to come back here, scroll down, and I should be able to go to here, and I should be able to just see how this one says like C prime. I should be able to just be like, boop, P prime. And then I should just be able to be like, whoa, I updated this, changed P to, whoops, P prime, so that the question, whoops, makes sense. Okay, so I am, can't spell well, but, Grammarly helps as well. So if you're going to be contributing and you want to make sure your PRs look good. And I don't necessarily like changing the title because I feel like if it's on my own repo, I'll do crazy messed up titles to make sure I know what's going on. But because this is like a public repo, I'd rather just be very clear with everyone what happened. So like session 2 notes got updated, you know, that's good. I don't want to change that. And then if someone wants to see my random, like the way I do it, then they can read the actual like comments, you know, so there you go. So yeah, like, this is not going to change. I don't have to worry about my randomness ever affecting the way it looks. So this is unverified. You know, I can discuss and review with others, blah, blah, blah. But no, I'm just going to create a pull request. And the pull request is going to have the exact same information I had. So this tick at the bottom, obviously, I like keeping it ticked up. So maintainers of the repository, so in this case Thor, who's maintaining the Uncloak website, but eventually let's say this was a DAO or a group of people or an organization or a company. The idea is that you're kind of doing what you can to contribute, and then if someone thinks that actually, you know what, you know, this is what happened, so you're changing it from P to P prime, you're saying that you're changing it so that the question makes sense. You know, if they say, actually, you know what, I actually think we need to add more information to this repo, because actually that's a good idea, but maybe we want to add some extra information like, hey, you know, you can find more information about why this question wouldn't have made sense here at this link, and, you know, sorry for making the mistake, as an example. But either way, allowing edits, make sure that other people that are maintaining the repo can kind of edit it, and in my opinion, higher chance of the repo getting merged and accepted, the PR getting merged or accepted, because obviously instead of like having to resubmit a new PR, if you want to change something, they can just edit it themselves.